Understanding macronutrients and how it can really help you lose more body fat is probably one of the best things that you can do when acquiring more knowledge and in the easiest way possible to see better results. So if you don't know what macronutrients are, it's your macros. And these are your proteins, your carbs, and your fats. There is a fourth hidden macronutrient, and that is alcohol. Now, when you're consuming these macronutrients, they all add up to these calories. So if you ever look on the back of a nutritional fact label of, buying something at the grocery store, it's going to have all these different grams, and it's going to lead up to a set calories at the very top. Now, 1 gram of protein is equal to 4 calories. 1 gram of carbs is equal to 4 calories. 1 gram of fat is equal to 9 calories. And then with alcohol, 1 gram is equal to 7 calories. Now, how your body breaks down these different macronutrients, this is called the thermic effect of food, and I talk about this often. So, for example, with fats, it's the lowest end on here, and it's basically the absorption rate and digestion process of utilizing these calories and utilizing anywhere from 0 to about 3% energy just to break down fats. Carbohydrates, it's a little bit more. It's anywhere from 5 to 10% energy that your body is going to consume just to break down those carbohydrates. But when it comes down to protein, this is anywhere from 20 to 30% more energy. And so we always say it like this, that at the end of the day, if you want to lose more body fat, if you want to speed up your metabolism, if you want to put on more lean muscle tissue, focus on eating more protein. It's very simple, The bare minimum is take your body weight and multiply it by 0.8. And I would say the maximum is, take your body weight and multiply it by 1.5. At Heartletics, we like to always focus on having at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Now, when it comes down to carbohydrates and fats, it really doesn't matter too much. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, okay? They're both utilized as different energy sources, okay? Your fats, aka your lipids, these are slow digesting, just energy sources. So these are things that's going to make you feel more satiated in the long run. It takes a longer time to digest. It's slower, but even though it takes a longer time to digest, don't think of it being like, man, it takes a longer time to digest, so I might be burning more calories just by having more fats. Remember, your protein is the mecca when it comes to the thermic effect of food, not your fats, But here's the reality. Fats are essential within the body. Your body does need fats for hormonal purposes. And we always say, just depending on somebody's body type, have at least 20% of your daily calories coming from your fats, okay? Now, you can simply just do these measurements and understanding, how calories work within the body, what works best for you when it comes to either having, depending where you are right now in your health and fitness journey, right? If you want to be in a bulk, you want to be with your maintenance, or you want to be on a cut. Hey, once you figure out those calories, just have 20%, right around there, 20 to 30% coming from fats. Your protein, once again, anywhere from 0.8 to 1.5 grams, okay? When it comes to your protein, then you can just fill in the rest with carbohydrates. And I highly suggest you do that. Now, at the end of the day, carbohydrates get a bad rap because people don't understand how it works within the body. Yes, it's energy sources, like I just said, but at the end of the day, your body prefers these energy sources. Glycogen, as opposed to, let's say, ketones. That is when you're on a higher fats, a lower carbohydrate diet. Your body prefers the glycogen more. It's more effective, okay? It knows how to utilize it for, energy purposes to help with strength. Maybe if, let's say, you're going to the gym, doing some form of resistance training, or you're going for, let's say, a run. Why do you think marathon runners, right, they do these carb load days, or you ever see like Michael Phelps smash on like all these, pancakes before a big swim meet? It's because at the end of the day, like your body knows how to utilize it more for energy, which is great. And then within carbohydrates, obviously you have your simple carbs and your complex carbs. Your complex carbs are maybe things like, your fruits, your vegetables, things that have more fiber in it. Your simple carbohydrates could, let's say, spike your insulin more. These could be also things like refined sugary carbohydrates, the things that they tell you, hey, are quote unquote bad foods and stay away from them. At the end of the day, flexibility is key here, right? Sustainability. We always tell our members, hey, focus on the 80-20 rule. Having, 80% wholesome, healthy foods, and then 20% of those sanity foods that we like to call it. That way you don't just, go binge and go cold turkey and then eventually fall off the wagon, because that's not healthy. That's how people yo-yo from year after year, where they lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight. Now back to carbohydrates. If you are a type 2 diabetic, understand this, right? I would be focusing on having a lower carbohydrate diet for you, simply because you do not want to spike your insulin. And I'm going to give you a big key thing, right, to really help you out if you are a type 2 diabetic. Just Google search and look up the glycemic index. You're going to see all these carbohydrates and all these different points and how it affects your body with spiking your insulin. And obviously you don't want to do that if you're a diabetic. So my suggestion is, let's say you want to have something that could potentially put you at harm and spike your insulin. Let's say white rice, for example. Well, you want to mix that with a healthy fat. Why? Well, remember, fats are slower when it comes to digestion. So what you can simply do is, let's say, have, white rice, maybe some chicken, and it's like, okay, you got your protein right there with the chicken, the carbohydrates of the white rice. What can you do to slow down that digestion? You take maybe some avocado, put that in the mix, right? Put that in the mix where you're having that for your dinner or something, and that's going to slow it down. Slow down the digestion to where it's not going to spike your insulin so much. And don't be too scared or nervous. We've literally helped out so many people, lower their A1C levels and reverse their type 2 diabetes. It's not hard at all, right? What you need to focus on is just having a healthy lifestyle. Be more active, be mindful of the things that you're consuming, and obviously making sure that you're training effectively to help you with that, and being consistent, most importantly. But at the end of the day, macronutrients, right? Your macros. These are the things that you're consuming, right? These are your calories, right? And your calories are broken up into, once again, your proteins, your carbs, your fats. They all play an effective role within the body. And what I highly suggest is just that as you're consuming this, have in mind, right? Balance. That is key for everything. Balance. The last thing that you want to do is have this love-hate relationship with carbohydrates, right? Because at the end of the day, just because maybe somebody says, oh, this is the greatest thing in the world, like I cut out my carbs, I instantly lost 20 pounds. Remember, weight loss and fat loss are two different things. So somebody can cut out their carbohydrates, instantly lose a whole bunch of water weight, right? They're losing their glycogen that's inside the body. And obviously, you will see the number on the scale go down, but it's not effective in the long run. It's not necessarily lowering somebody's body fat percentage. So have balance here. If you focus on having balance, right? Focusing on that protein, right? Make sure that's the first thing that you want to focus on when you figured out your specific calorie range on where you want to be. Whether you want to lose fat, whether you want to, maintain your weight right now, whether you want to put on some muscle and be in a little bit of a surplus, be in a little bit of a bulk, that's completely entirely up to you and your fitness journey right now. But then when you figure that out, focus on your protein first and foremost, right? Take your body weight, multiply it from the bare minimum, right? 0.8, and that's going to give you, what you should be having at least per day in grams of protein, all the way up, right, to 1.5 grams. Focus on that sweet spot. Or keep it simple, take your body weight, multiply it by 1, and boom, stick within that. From there, hey, you have your fats, right? Because you do need those. Those are essential. I don't recommend anybody just cut out their fats entirely, because once again, you need it for hormonal purposes. So you can find out your calories, and once you figure that out, just take that and take 20% of that, or 25%, or 30%, and have that, right, in your fats. And then lastly, you can just fill in the rest with carbohydrates however you want. When it comes down to carbohydrates, don't worry about, hey, I shouldn't be having carbs late at night. You're going to store it as body fat. It's a complete myth. Utilize those carbohydrates however you want. You can utilize them in the beginning of your day to maybe have more energy for, let's say, a set workout, or use them for recovery after a workout. Personally, for me, I work out first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, and then in the evening time, I actually do what's called, protein loading throughout the course of the day, or a protein sparing diet. So I actually stick with just protein foods, right, throughout the course of the day, and in the evening time, usually when my wife comes home from work, hey, we'll have a big dinner together, and then right before I go to sleep, I'll have like a big dessert that I like, maybe like protein oatmeal or protein cereal or some kind of high protein, high carbohydrate dessert that, fixes my sweet tooth. But also, think about it. right? I'm typically having the bulk of my calories, the bulk of my carbs and fats in the evening time. And the reason why I want to have them there is because, one, I'm working out first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. So I need to have that glycogen. I need to have those carbs to help me push heavier weights within the gym, help me put on that muscle, help me speed up my metabolism, right? It's just when you understand how your body works and what works best for you, it makes it so much easier. So you don't have to listen to this guy or this person or what they have to say or this article and this research study. You always want to go what works best for you. And this is just what works best for me. I'm just giving you guys some tips on what I like to do that, is a great recommendation. Okay. Now, once again, I'm having those carbohydrates in the evening time, not just to help me with more energy for working out the following morning, but also it helps me sleep better in the evening time. At the end of the day, they did a study. Guys that slept on average, 8 hours compared to 5 hours had up to 20% more natural free testosterone. Sleep and recovery and, how carbohydrates affect that. And when you're sleeping better, when you're recovering better, right? And the carbohydrates really help you with recovery after, you're breaking down the muscles from the resistance training. Think about it. You're also going to be lowering your cortisol levels down. So what happens when cortisol levels are too high? Well, that's your body's natural stress hormone. So if it's too high, it's going to make it very hard to, burn body fat effectively. So at the end of the day, it's just a little bit of a tip here. Don't let somebody say, oh, you can't have carbs late at night and, you should cut out your carbs completely. Remember, balance is key here, right? Focus on the 80-20 rule. And just when you figure out what works best for your body, you can just kind of put on those blinders and not have to worry about what other people have to say because you're seeing the results and that's truly what matters at the end of the day anyways.